So what's the principal difference between these two that we're going to care about today? Well, if I'm searching for something, I'm going to want to use a flashlight. I can view a large amount of area at once just by pointing in the general direction. Nothing terribly specific. However, if I want to point at something, maybe half a mile away or 3 kilometers away, I'm going to want to use a laser. And that is what this topic is going to be about. The dispersion, not of light, but of sound. Okay, so all I'm doing is just hooking up a standard 1/8 connection audio jack to these banana clips, and then the other end of these banana clips will be connected to this small speaker. This came from a very early MP3 player. I think that was made in the 2002-2003. I've got this connected straight to just a song, and I want to just quickly listen to this so that way we can get a good comparison when we then listen to this megaphone and see if we can notice what the difference between them are. And then of course we'll take this apart, see what makes it special. Now, a lot of power that this speaker is receiving is being used to move this diaphragm, vibrate it. And we get quite a bit of rich sound from the small speaker. If you can't see this diaphragm vibrating, I'm going to just put some screws on it so we can observe that. So now we can observe that this cone is indeed moving quite a bit. So a lot of that power is being used to create the sound wave and create this very deep sounding bass, even if it is just from a very small 4 ohm, 2.5 watt speaker. We've heard music from this. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to play the song at the exact beginning that I did before, this time with the megaphone. And of course we suspect that this is going to be louder. It should be, because it's going to concentrate the sound. Instead of dispersing it everywhere, all over the place, this one's going to concentrate it like a cone. And same way that a laser concentrates the light. So let's see if we notice a difference. Yeah, definitely a difference. Quite a bit louder. Not getting that rich, deep bass. Shouldn't surprise anyone. I haven't changed the volume at all. And I'm hoping that on YouTube this is discernible, but it is considerably louder. So yeah, not surprising. This megaphone is considerably louder than its counterpart here, and it should be. I mean that's what it's designed to accomplish. Now, how is the same wattage, the same power, being broadcasted or being transmitted into this smaller speaker and into this larger speaker, but it should take more power to drive the cone up and down, the driver? How is it that this is sounding louder with the exact same power? Well, this is using quite a bit of the electricity just to move this diaphragm up and down. And the sound of this is not being concentrated, it's being dispersed. So it has a wider range of audio frequencies, and it's using quite a bit of its power to move this diaphragm. Whereas this megaphone has a much smaller range of sound. It was clear that the highs and maybe the midtones were broadcasting out of this just fantastic, actually, but the bass The lower end sucked. Why? Because as we suspect, the diaphragm in this thing doesn't move near as much as this. And of course, if this is designed for distance, you're not going to feel bass half a mile away. That's not what this is designed for. The mass of this, you can just feel how heavy this is. So it's very dense. I would almost think it's got to be steel. And looks like we have a protective O-ring around here to prevent moisture from entering between this case and the bell. So this just prevents water, moisture from building up and of course getting into this driver, the speaker. Okay, so now that we removed the gasket out of the way, I suppose, and the bell, we're left with this this cone. And what I want to do is we've heard these two play together when it was constructed, what it sounded like. Now what I would like to do is play the same audio, this time with the center cone, not with this bell. In this case, this sound is going to be coming out from the side. So I don't expect this to be quite as loud and not nearly as directional, right, as it was with this bell constructed on. So let's play this real quick and see if we can notice the difference of that. Again, almost zero bass. The diaphragm in this probably doesn't even move all that much, at least not compared to its small counterpart. It doesn't seem as loud, even with my ears close to it. Not again surprising, because the sound waves are being sent out from all directions now. The high pitch is noticeable, same as when it was in this bell housing. This bell housing does really two things that this provides. Focuses the sound and blocks sound emanating from all directions but where they want the sound to emit from. And of course it's excellent as a bell. So let's take this apart quick and observe what it sounds like with this cone off. Another cone, go figure. So let's play a song just with this smaller cone, and I believe just by looking in that is the last cone that's in there. I probably can't get in there. Here, maybe we'll use this flashlight. If you can see that looks like that's just the cone, the driver, that's vibrating up and down just like the smaller one, and that's, you know, dead center within this, if I had to guess, aluminum cone, something like that. Let's play the same song and let's see if we notice the difference between when we played with this smaller one and when we had it playing with this bell. Oh yes, not near as loud. I hear a lot of the distortion being caused by this driver attempting to play the bass. the diameter initially starts fixed, but if you take a look, the diameter increases on this cone. It is reflected by the smaller inner cone and basically sent back down towards the driver. However, it is then reflected again from this housing and is emitted back up, but not just anywhere, but by this housing. And again, the diameter doesn't remain fixed and doesn't decrease. You notice as soon as the sound hits this wall, or hits the housing, it gets reflected back up and it is sent back out. So we see an increasing diameter from this smaller diameter to this much, much larger diameter, which of course fits into why this is directional and why it amplifies the sound so well. Oh, take a look at that. This has been dismantled before. Let's see. Take a look. Quite a bit of damage. Someone has had kind of eaten up with that screw there. Someone's damaged that screw. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not sure when this was taken apart, but whoever took this apart was a little bit careless. They over tightened the screw and actually nicked it. So a good way to know if someone's been in this is take a good look at the screws. Okay, so we have the magnet housing, and it shouldn't surprise anyone that there's a magnet in here if you know even just a little bit about speakers. So it looks like it has just a center metal core with magnets all around it. I'm not sure what's underneath here, and I'm a bit curious because there's like a hex size screw, as if I could unscrew this and take a look at what's inside, but it should just be metal surrounded by magnets. I will try to see if I can unscrew that. I doubt it. Nope, it doesn't look like... Oh, let's take a look. Well, it looks like I can turn it, but I may be turning it indefinitely. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. That I thought maybe this would raise the center up or down depending on the cone, how it rested, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything even close to that. So I'm not sure. I probably just made more of a mess. What I do find interesting, though, is the construction of this, because it appears that this is not the only magnet. It looks like as if this is a magnet as well, and this is not. This appears to be metal. Yeah, this is metal, but these two are magnets. Why they chose to have two separate magnets rather than just one, I'm not sure. It's a good question. I have no idea. Maybe this is just designed to be the overall strong magnet, and this is maybe more specific to the dimensions of the center cone, which is right here. What I find interesting about this cone is it doesn't appear that the diaphragm, it doesn't appear that this diaphragm actually moves. It's basically stationary. So this would account for the lack of bass. It's not able to vibrate, to move this diaphragm up and down and fluctuate it to produce enough air to make that bass sound. And as a result, we get highs and mid-range, but we don't get any lows. You just can't hear them. So I found that fairly interesting. So right now I'm actually playing the song, and I don't have any magnet near it, and I don't hear a single thing. There is no sound coming from this. It might as well not be playing. But look what happens as I approach this coil with this magnet. You can hear it now. I'm going to approach it with it a little closer. So what's the principal difference between these two that we're going to care about today? Well, if I'm searching for something, I'm going to want to use a flashlight. I can view a large amount of area at once just by pointing in the general direction. Nothing terribly specific. However, if I want to point at something, maybe half a mile away or 3 kilometers away, I'm going to want to use a laser. And that is what this topic is going to be about. The dispersion, not of light, but of sound. Okay, so all I'm doing is just hooking up a standard 1/8 connection audio jack to these banana clips, and then the other end of these banana clips will be connected to this small speaker. This came from a very early MP3 player. I think that was made in the 2002-2003. I've got this connected straight to just a song, and I want to just quickly listen to this so that way we can get a good comparison when we then listen to this megaphone and see if we can notice what the difference between them are. And then of course we'll take this apart to see what makes it special. Now a lot of power that this speaker is receiving is being used to move this diaphragm, vibrate it. And we get quite a bit of rich sound from the small speaker. If you can't see this diaphragm vibrating, I'm going to just